Hey guys, this is Clinton Jeff from MoneyToPhones.com, and here's a quick look at the Lenovo P780. This is a mid-range phone from Lenovo, which a company that made a name for itself with some very decent phones and a high-end phone like the infamous K900, which we reviewed earlier this year. The Lenovo P780 boasts a 1.2 GHz Cortex-A7 quad-core processor and a huge 4000 mAh battery that you can't remove from the back, but that should be good enough for a phone of this size. In terms of design, the P780 has a very basic design. There's a lot of metal though, which makes it look a lot more premium, along with the chrome accents all around. As you can see, even the buttons have a nice little chrome-ish highlighting to them. So it does look like an expensive phone, at least more expensive than the price that it is selling at. So that's quite nice. Apart from that, the front, as you can see, has a huge 5-inch IPS LCD. This is at 720p resolution, so it's not as detailed as a 1080p screen, but for a mid-range phone, it's actually not too bad at all. As you can see, all the icons are very crisp and detailed out. Even the text is really nice. So all in all, it's a really nice display. It also gets very bright. But one thing that's a little bit annoying is that the automatic brightness of the phone is a little bit too aggressive. As you can see, it dims it down way too much. It's not all good because the screen is a little bit reflective, as you can see, and viewing angles are not so great. You can see the colors change depending on how you're viewing it at. So apart from that, it's an okay display. Below the screen there, the usual Android buttons for edit, home and back. The buttons do light up depending on when it's a dark situation. In this case, I have a lot of lighting around, so it's not lighting up right now, so I can't show that to you. On the screen, you have the usual front-facing camera. Does an okay job. And towards the top of the phone, you have the power button. You also have the little micro USB charging port right there. It's covered with a nice little plastic flap to keep protected. Removing and closing this flap every time you need to charge it can be a little bit annoying though, so I don't know how long this will last. You also have the power button here, which is also the screen lock button. So yeah, usual Android deal. They've actually dumped all the keys and ports up here. It's also the volume rocker switch right there. It would have been nice to have the power button on the side, because it is a little bit of a stretch to get it up top. But apart from that, you have no keys or ports anywhere else on the device. Coming to the back, you have an 8 megapixel camera with a single LED flash right there. It does an okay job. There's also a tiny pinhole for noise cancelling that you can see right over here in this corner under the flash. Apart from that, there's the huge Lenovo branding. There's also a speaker right here towards the end. And once you remove this panel, this very nice brushed aluminum look panel, you'll see that there's space for 2 SIM card slots because it is a dual SIM device, and a micro SD card slot as well. We got the 4 GB model to review, which unfortunately only has 2.1 GB of available space, which is pretty bad. But thankfully there is a micro SD card slot, so you can put in more memory if you desire, because really 2.1 GB isn't that great. So apart from that, the P780 comes with a USB on the go cable in some countries. In the Indian unit, we didn't get a USB on the go cable, but if you do, it will work fine with the micro USB port right there. In terms of benchmarks, you kind of get okay mid-range results, nothing too great, nothing too fast. There's a little bit of lag that you will see when you're opening up some apps, but all in all, it's pretty okay, pretty fast for a mid-range device. It's not the fastest UI that we've seen, but it does an okay job. So Lenovo's UI does have a lot of extra stuff that you will find all around the space. For example, you'll see all the icons are changed, and there's a whole bunch of stuff that you can customize. You can customize how you sort the menu. There's also a nice little app that Lenovo has where you can set how hard you'll be working the battery. So you can choose to put it in the lower power switching mode, or the network activity, or show battery percentage, or even right here from the widget, you can use it in best power mode or long power or extreme power mode, which are all different settings and do different things. Apart from that, the UI is kind of okay. I'm not a big fan of the toggle icons that they put in over here, but apart from that, I guess it's okay. It's your usual Android deal with the same old lock screen that you can unlock right there, and home screen that you can customize with a bunch of themes and things like that. So all in all, the UI is familiar enough, it's not really that different. Just so you know, I haven't mentioned that yet, but the Lenovo P780 runs Android 4.2.1 Jelly Bean, which is a little outdated now compared to 4.3 and 4.4 that's out there. But all in all, it's not too bad, it works pretty well, and there's also Google Now support that you can get by long pressing the home button. Right there. The camera, there's a super camera app, that's the name of the app, that has a whole bunch of settings. I personally think it's a little bit crowded because there's way too much stuff going on right there. There's a whole bunch of settings and things that you can tweak. There's basic mode, advanced mode, and others. There's also the filters that you can apply right there, lens effects, magic effects, and tailor effects. And a whole bunch of other things that you can customize. There's also burst mode, panorama mode, night mode, HDR mode, low light mode, smile mode, macro mode, and untimed. There's a lot of stuff. Similarly, in video, you don't actually get as many modes to play around with, but you do get some video settings that you can tinker with. Camera quality is okay. It's not the best that we've seen. It's pretty average, to be honest. The color reproduction is okay, but there is a lot of noise. You do get some nice details though in some pictures, as long as it's not at night, because in low light pictures you will see a lot of noise that appears in the screen, and that flash can be a little bit overpowering, as you can see in some cases. In terms of video, it's about the same. It's not too great. Frame rate is okay, but the results are about the same as with images. In terms of battery life, that 4000 mAh battery means that you will keep this going for at least 2 days, maybe 2.5. Battery life is really not a concern with this device. It can go on forever. This is actually possibly the one device I've had that has easily fared through 2 days of my use. To conclude, the Lenovo P780 might not be the most powerful phone out there, but for a mid-range phone, it does a really good job. Build quality is really solid. The screen is also really bright. Viewing angles might be a little bit bad, but apart from that, it's an okay 720p-ish screen. It handles the job well enough. The UI is smooth. It's not my favorite UI, but it is smooth and it does work pretty okay. The best part about this phone though has to be the battery life, because the battery life is pretty insane. And there's also dual SIM support, so you can use 2 SIM cards and 2 numbers at the same time. So that might be enough for most people, but as always, if you guys want more reasons to love or hate the Lenovo P780, do check out our post over at unleashedphones.com. We have the full review, and as always, if you guys have any questions, do let me know in the comment section right below.